I've gotten a little afraid to come here. This is where I found that letter from the mistress to the wife a few weeks ago. Gosh, I'm afraid to open any book.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for coming back and seeing me and Desi, and I hope you had a good week. And this week I went to the thrift store. I went to a bunch of them. And I was on a mission because I have been reading up on the Hygge type of decor. It's a Danish way of decorating your home to bring the outside in and to make spaces for yourself to heal anxiety, depression, that type of thing. It's so interesting.
It's pretty. I like it. It reminds me of 1980. Oh boy, do I love that. Isn't that beautiful? That is the perfect color. It is so pretty. I just love it. Now that is Hygge. Pretty. It's lopsided. It's not perfect. It reminds me of me. Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. What if the hokey pokey really is what it's all about?
People in the world are Danish people. Why is that? What are they doing over there that makes them so happy? I mean, they do have a great pastry named after them. Anyway, it's all about bringing the outside in. It's about creating these amazing spaces that will calm you down and help with anxiety or depression, making special places in your home a sanctuary. With all of this in mind, creating these spaces and this calming atmosphere, I wanted to see how much I could find at thrift stores that would go along with this type of decor, and how much money would I have to spend. And I ended up hardly spending any money at all. But I want to show you some of these beautiful things that I got. Lovely, an old teapot, some wood trays, and I just want to share with you some of these things that I feel are kind of true game changers when it comes to my home and making me feel more peaceful and relaxed.
Decorating for peace and happiness and a less stressful life, we can pick out lots of different textures. I love woven baskets, and I love uniquely colored baskets where we can put in throws.
I watched so many videos on how to decorate in this Danish style, but the number one thing that made the biggest impression on me is create an area in your home that is your sanctuary. I always thought of that as, like a room. A room is your sanctuary, like your bedroom or a part of your living room. But no, it's much more than that. The number one thing that we're looking for is an area that we can sit and read, but the area needs to have a view, because the whole philosophy is bring the outside in. The number two thing that we are going to be looking for our special little sanctuary nook is temperature. Is it a cool area? Is it a warm area? Do we have the ability to easily change the temperature? Of all the countries in the world, you know who burns the most candles? Yep, it's those Danish happy people. They burn a lot of candles. Well, you know, I'm not a big fan of burning candles. I love a candle burning when I have company, but you know, I get busy doing things, and I love candles, but you know what I like better than candles? I love like beautiful large candle holders, but I like fairy lights in those beautiful candle holders. We've got the view and we've got the lighting and we've got some amazing food. We have some trays where we can have our tea, our coffee, our special bread, anything that, you know, we're curling up with a beautiful comforter, and there's a food, beverage, and we have these beautiful plants around us. We are bringing the outside in. So we're combining all these beautiful things that gives us such pleasure. For us to be happy, we need frames, and in those frames are pictures of people that we loved or do love, so we can see their image. Well, I think put a twist on this, because when I think back on the people that I have loved, I don't necessarily remember what they look like. I mean, I remember what they look like, but that's not what I hold in my heart. What I hold in my heart is some of the things they said to me. That goes right to my soul. So instead of having a picture of my mother, I have a frame, and I have the favorite thing, my favorite thing that she used to say to me, a quote. And when it comes to my grandfather, instead of a picture of him, I have my favorite quote that my grandfather used to say to me. So my picture frames, they are not the physical image of my loved one. They're the very favorite words they ever said to me. And I do that with my son. I do that with my grandchildren. I do that with you.
I remember the exact moment that my mother told me that she loved watching me grow older because she saw me growing kinder. I think that's probably the most beautiful compliment I've ever received in my whole life.
I picked up this beautiful, kind of crazy, insane candle holder, and it came with balls. How about that? I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this. Kind of cute is to put the little fairy lights inside, and then I can have that kind of very low lighting that is supposed to be so soothing. You are pursuing that type of Danish decor, I think it's beautiful to use a lot of wood and clay and just things that are naturally found in nature. I love pottery that is neutral but has a lot of texture. I found this at the thrift store yesterday. I love this. It's so lopsided and I don't know. It's like it's trying hard to be a little pot. One of my very favorite things that I found at the thrift store yesterday was this old little teapot. I mean, it is Hygge all the way, isn't it? It's kind of old, it's neutral, and they always emphasize, have a wood tray, and on that tray have something scrumptious to eat, some tea, coffee, any type of beverage that you love. But find a container that speaks to you. And I love this. I don't know even where I would begin to find something this cool in like a Home Goods or a Bed, Bath and Beyond. Maybe in the Beyond department. I don't know. One thing that I try to do every day is not take myself so seriously, and I try to laugh and I try to make other people laugh. I can't help it. And one thing that helps me do that is crazy, silly little folk art. The crazy sheep with the attitude, or the cats, going for a canoe ride together and looking kind of pissed. I just love this. It makes me laugh. It never gets old. You know what I'm doing tonight? I am baking 3 loaves of my sweet potato bread. 2 for neighbors and 1 for myself. I'm off my bland diet and I'm kind of going for it. And thank you so much for being so kind about my little health crisis that I had.
I don't really know why Danish people are reported to be the happiest people in the world, but I do know that they measure success by how happy they are, the joy that they bring others and the joy that they bring themselves.
I started watching a lot of videos about this type of Danish decorating, and that kind of led me to why people were so interested in creating these very peaceful, tranquil places in their home. And it seemed like the bottom line was people were searching for happiness, which led me to all these videos about, the armchair psychologists they have on YouTube that are, giving us advice on, we're an older woman and we should do these things to be happy. They all seem to really zero in on happiness is a choice, and stop living in the past, you loser, and stop feeling sorry for yourself, and I'm sitting there thinking, is that me? Do I live in the... Anyway, so instead of making me feel better, they're making me feel like a loser. Anyway, I had to laugh about it, but for the last 8 years, I've had this amazing privilege of talking to women from all over the world. And my opinion of women now compared to what it was 8 years ago is completely different. Now, I always loved women. I happen to be a woman myself. But the way that I admire and revere women now, it's like night and day. I have never met a woman who sits around and feels sorry for herself. I'm sorry, but I haven't. what women have a tendency to do is take on so much responsibility. If something goes wrong in their life, or if something goes wrong in somebody else's life, they take the blame. They step right up and say, if I had done something different, or if I had tried harder, if I'd been prettier, if I'd been smarter, whatever. Women are so noble. It isn't that they have to stop feeling sorry for themselves. They have to start loving themselves and giving themselves a break. You know, a hug. I think that's why it was so important I did this video this week. It's like a love letter to yourself. I'm making this place not for my family, not for guests. I'm making this little nook for me. The women that I have met in the last 8 years, you have taught me endless lessons. You are so open to give somebody a second chance, a third chance, endless chances, because you have so much love in your heart. I admire that so much. You have taught me to be less harsh and less brittle, less judgmental. Women are strong. Nobody has to tell a woman how to get up and persevere. It's in her DNA. We're used to being knocked down and having to get up. Even when we're too weak to stand, we do it anyway. So the next time somebody says, I'm going to teach you how to be happy, maybe think to yourself, you know what? Maybe I could teach them a thing or two. Because you are my heroes.
I'm really finding a lot of pleasure and a lot of joy of having my favorite quotes of the people that I have loved in my life around me. One of my favorites is by my grandfather. The secret of a happy life is clean hands, sturdy shoes, and the smell of baseball.
An Italian waffle cookie, but I don't let Desi have cookies. There's no way. I don't even think he likes cookies. Hey everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I loved every second of it. I always do. And if you get time down below, could you share maybe something that has helped you with your happiness? Anything that you can think of, I think we all would love so much. Please have yourself a wonderful, happy, brand new week. And when you're done with your week, come back and see me and Desi, okay? Okay. It's a deal. We'll be here. Yeah. You know, almost every week somebody will ask me if I can hold Desi for the whole video. I would love to do that, but I think he would just be so bored. And I'm afraid that, you know, those lights would be too bright for him.